Well, it's been much debated for many months, but now we know who the main villain of the Marvels is. In the recent trailer, it was revealed who Zawe Ashton and Daniel Ings are playing, and where they fit into the MCU is pretty interesting, especially if you're a fan of Kree history. Aren't we all? Well, as many of you know, Marvel Studios recently dropped the first teaser trailer for the Marvels, and honestly, the energy of the trailer caught me a little off guard, and I will admit I am excited. Now, for me personally, Iman Vellani completely stole the show. There's no doubt about that. But the trailer did provide us with a big reveal on who the villains are. Now, just like the first movie, Carol Danvers will be facing off against the Kree Empire, with Zawe Ashton playing their new leader, Dar Ben. Now, there were rumors that this would be the exact character she would be playing, but it is an interesting choice because there is not, I repeat, not a lot of comic history about the character. They made their first appearance in 1991's Silver Surfer number 53. And Bardan was an emperor of the Kree Empire in that comic, but was a joint emperor alongside another character called Aeldan. Now, this didn't last very long, because by Avengers 345, the character was killed by Deathbird, who honestly was one of the characters I suspected could appear in this movie, and the fact that this character is included makes me wonder if Deathbird is going to indeed show up. It's just something Marvel is holding back. We did get confirmation that Daniel Ings' character is a character named Tyron, a Kree advisor who, as far as I can tell by any research, is another new character created for the MCU. Now, this joint emperor status of the primary villain, I have to say, is interesting to me because it does make me wonder if it sets up other villains in the future, or if there is even currently a co-emperor we're not seeing mentioned in the film. It's also pretty interesting she's wielding that hammer that's just like Ronan the Accuser used, called a Cosmorod, but the more interesting aspect was she was wearing a bangle, and that bangle looked identical to the one that activated Miss Marvel's latent mutant abilities and was so tied closely to the Djinn, which now I have tons of questions about how the Djinn might be possibly attached to the Kree, where the original bangle came from in Miss Marvel. Remember, it appeared to be on a Kree, and how all of these really separate pieces in the Marvel Universe possibly tie together. Now, whether Deathbird actually appears, that is also something up in the air, but would be pretty interesting. I really hope Marvel doesn't waste Deathbird. She's a pretty cool villain, and one of Captain Marvel's few staple villains, and has had some pretty classic clashes with Captain Marvel in the comics, so that will be somebody great to save for the future. The only disappointing thing about all of this for me is that the Kree are once again the villains. I think this is going to be the theme for the franchise in general, but I would have loved to have seen Carol Danvers and the rest of the Marvel characters face off against some of the other intergalactic entities that Marvel can use. There's some great villains like the Badoon that have never been touched by Marvel Studios and would create an awesome presence in the MCU. If that ever happens, well, we're going to have to wait and see.